Lukaku has confirmed in his interview with Sky Italy that if Inter Milan would have offered him a new deal, he would not have joined Chelsea this summer. Thomas Tuchel has reacted, stating that this is not helpful and they're not happy that this interview has gone out, although they have defended him, saying that some things can be taken out of context. A lot of Chelsea fans reached out to the Football Terrace yesterday evening, stating that maybe Fabrizio Romano's comments and the way that Lukaku was being portrayed was slightly out of context and wrong. Many of those people have retracted those messages to us this morning, saying with the further comments that are coming out, they are becoming more and more angry, disgusted, and frustrated at what Lukaku has said. We're here to delve into more of the interview, to give you the chance to react and have your say, to give you, the Chelsea fans and football fans, a voice on this matter. Do me a big favor and smash that like button. Share this stream across your social media platforms. This is the Done Deal Show. Let's go. Welcome back to the Football Terrace. An absolutely explosive interview from Lukaku. Lots of quotes, lots of snippets, lots of reactions, lots of people giving their thoughts and their feelings. And of course, the Football Terrace is always here to allow fans to voice their opinions on said matters. The biggest piece of news trending, I mean, in fairness, it was bigger than Man United's game last night. It was still all that people wanted to talk about. Now that the full interview has been revealed, more snippets, more sound bites, more reaction to this is coming. And what's really intriguing to me is a lot of Chelsea fans that reached out to me yesterday evening saying, oh, look, I appreciate what you do, but it may now appear that Lukaku has been completely misquoted, out of context. He didn't actually say these things, blah, blah, blah. Further snippets, the full interview's been revealed, and a lot of those Chelsea fans have reached out and I've completely changed my mind. Apologies for reaching out. It's actually got worse. Things he said now are just so disrespectful to the football club, and there's a lot to delve into, and I want to take your points, what Tuchel has reacted with as well. I think one of the key standout points that Chelsea fans do not want to see, do not want to hear, was this from Lukaku, where he sits there and states that last summer I didn't think about going to Chelsea until they really came with an offer. Inzaghi behaved very well with me. Can we say that if Inter had offered me a new contract, I would have stayed? Yes. Well, he nodded, but essentially means yes. And I think that's where, for me, I've been a bit frustrated with certain people that are like, well, he didn't actually say yes, but he nodded. Like, people are like looking for, it's like a court of law with people right now. That comment doesn't need to happen. I understand that he wants to address the Inter fans, but there is a time and there is a place. And when you are the world record signing for one of the biggest clubs in the world who are struggling, and I don't care that you did the interview 3 weeks ago, he's been in football long enough to know that a media outlet like Sky will hold on to that for a little while. Their bad form had started a few weeks back. Let's hold on to this to the most opportune moment to release it. And that is what they've done. Lukaku wasn't sanctioned to do this interview by Chelsea. The manager didn't know it was coming out. And it's, again, unprofessional behavior from the international player. Now, what's really intriguing to me is they got this here from Mo saying, Terry, he didn't say that he wants to leave Chelsea. Mo, this is where you're, with respect, Mo, this is where you're behaving like we're in a court of law and he has to have exactly said something. He stated that he wants to rejoin Inter Milan in his prime. He's 29 years old at the end of the season and has 4 years remaining on his contract. How can he return to Inter in his prime when his contract with Chelsea ends when he's nearly 34 years old? When he's past his prime. Most players are past their prime by then. He doesn't need to say, I want to leave Chelsea. He hasn't put a transfer request in now. Nobody has said that. Nobody has stated that he is going to try and force a move this January, this summer. However, he's talking about leaving and returning. He also spoke about, in the very same interview, he said this: And we read this out. He went, there are three teams at the top level: Barca, Real, and Bayern. All the players dream of them. That's true. I thought I was going to one of those clubs after Inter. This didn't happen. And I said, there is only one club I can imagine myself at, Chelsea. So there's a compliment in there, but it's underhand. It's disrespectful to Chelsea football fans. You don't need to say it. Just, it didn't. I left Inter. I wanted to play for Chelsea again. Really happy to be here. It questions his dedication. I would have much preferred Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Bayern. I would have much preferred to have stayed. So he's literally said in an interview, he'd prefer to be at least 4 other clubs than Chelsea. I think when Chelsea have invested over £100 million in a player, show some damn decorum, show some damn respect. Forget the owner of the club. Forget Tuchel for a minute. Respect the fans that pay your wages. It's wrong what he has done. Without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, it is wrong. I don't think you can get away from that. And, you know, he said he had unfinished business at Chelsea and all of this jazz, but it just seems mad. And I think the thing for me, the one that really stood out to me is crazy. You're meant to be a Chelsea man now, back your club, was this. I miss Lautaro Martinez. I could die on the pitch for him since the first day I met him. Martinez coming here with me at Chelsea in the future? No, Lautaro, you can stay at Inter. I'll be back there. Again, it's just it feels like an underhand dig at Chelsea. And I'm going to say this now before we go to your calls. We have shared the link in the live comment section. What I think is really potent here is him speaking about one day returning to Inter. And let's go back to what he said as well about the way they're playing football at Chelsea. Tuchel playing a different system to maybe what he was promised. He's thrown that in there, which for me is a grenade. For me, it is planting a seed for the future. For me, it's undermining to Chelsea Football Club. What he's doing, essentially, is planting that seed that if you guys don't... A lot of Chelsea fans have been asking the question for weeks, why isn't our attack getting better? Why is our attack not working? Why is our attack struggling? Well, Lukaku's just thrown it out there because Tuchel's not playing, bought me, but we're not playing the style of football and attack that he promised. He's doing something different. I'm going to adapt and I'm going to be professional and I'm going to fight and strive to make it work. But only for the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months until I can go back to Inter, mind. But what that does is Chelsea don't improve. And fans become angry, which is inevitable because every fan base does the same thing. That's not an exclusively Chelsea thing. That data point is there. It's out there now. That's the reason. Thomas Tuchel, he changed it. He didn't go with the plan. He threw Lukaku under the bus. That's why we're struggling. It's very underhand. Now, in terms of what Tuchel said, and then we're going to go to your calls here. It's very intriguing. Tuchel, for me, gave what I call a bullshit sandwich today. What he really meant, loads of bullshit in the middle, and what he really meant at the end. Tuchel said, I don't like it because it brings noise that we don't need. It's just not helpful. Absolutely spot on. He then says, on the other side, we don't want to make more out of it than it actually is. You know very well how it is. It's not easy. It's easy to take lines out of context. It's easy to shorten lines and make headlines. And then later realize it's not as bad and maybe not what he meant. And you think, okay, well, he's defending Lukaku. And then he says straight after that, but let's be honest. Let's be honest that we don't like it. So what is it? Has it been taken out of context and it's not what he meant? Or is it not helpful and you don't like it? I don't believe those two things coexist at the same time. It's either, look, Lukaku was just speaking of his admiration for another club that really rectified his career. He loves the people there. There's no problem with that. He said nothing bad about Chelsea. There's no issue between me and him. For me, Tuchel's hurt by this. Tuchel knows it's the wrong time. It's the wrong thing for a player to be doing. It really is. You know, for me, I just think he goes on to say, look, we'll sit down and we'll discuss this. He says we'll do this behind closed doors and we'll do it open and we will do it openly. So no further comments on that. Like, they're going to try and shut this down. I just think it's wrong what he's done. I think it's disrespectful what he's done, and it's at the completely wrong time with everything else that's going on out there. It really is. And look, some Chelsea fans are going to defend him, some rivals will defend him and say things would take. Like, I saw one Chelsea fan messaged me, and it's his respect. He was like, "Oh, Fabrizio's quote was wrong." I went, "What do you mean?" When he was talking about the way Tuchel's playing football, he went, "I've watched the interview and he doesn't say Tuchel's name." It's like, bruv, you don't need to say Tuchel's name to say Tuchel's name. Like, remember, we're not in court here trying to prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. We know what he's saying here, and I just think it's wrong. I do think it's disrespectful, but everybody's going to have a difference of opinion. We want to hear from you today. You don't need to agree with me. This is the Football Terrace, so no echo chambers exist. There's one more comment I want to show before we go forward. He's also said here, Fabrizio shared this. He said, last summer, I went to talk to the Inter board and asked for a new contract. I said, I'm 28. I want to plan my life in Italy with a new deal. They said no. Maybe there wasn't the economic possibility. For me, it was difficult to accept. But this is the point I would say about wanting to leave. He went to Inter so that he could sort the rest of his career out with a big contract. But he's got that big contract at Chelsea, but he wants to leave before the end of that contract. That's why it's disrespectful to me. You know, maybe he's got a little bit giddy and doesn't really mean that he wants to go back in his pomp. He's just saying that to make Inter fans feel better. And maybe that's what it is. But it is still wrong. It is still wrong. And, you know, the only thing I'd say I was really impressed with Lukaku in this is the intelligence of the man, though. The fact that he can speak so many languages fluently is so impressive. I have to say that. It really, really is. When he first went to Inter, he said he always dreamed of playing for them as a kid. Said the same about Chelsea. Not sure about other clubs. Don't add up, is what Red Wolf has got to say. I think a lot of people have said that before. But there we go. And look, he has said some things that are positive about Chelsea in the interview, there's no doubt. He spoke about how he supported Chelsea as a kid, that he's always had this Chelsea mission and challenge in his head. But I'm going to be honest with you. I really will be honest. He's either lying to Inter fans or lying to Chelsea fans. At the very least, he's lying to one of the two. Because if you've got this mission and challenge and you're dedicated 100% to Chelsea, you wouldn't be thinking about Inter Milan. That isn't how dedicated people's minds work. It just isn't. You can't be dedicated and focused on this mission and challenge, but be already thinking about your next one. We see this in boxing. When a fighter starts looking at his next fight before he's beat the person that's in front of him, how many times do you see him get knocked out? Because they're not thinking about the right person. How can he be thinking about giving his best for Chelsea when he's dreaming of this big return to Inter in a year or two? It don't make sense. Keep your powder dry, Lukaku. Keep your mouth shut. Who's advising him as well? It's a mad... Like, honestly, these players need to employ me as their agent. I could keep them out of so much trouble. Honestly, it's it's mad. It's absolutely mad, in my opinion. He does go on to say here as well, people are sending me these tweets through. He does go on to say this here, and I will share it. He goes, Tuchel and I are trying to find a tactical system where we can find each other, a way to help the team, because the situation in the Premier League table is a bit complicated. He made a choice. I will keep working. At a certain point, I'll speak to Tuchel and we'll see. Again, this is a very polite way of saying we're not playing this. But what he is saying in this is the system that Tuchel has chosen isn't getting the best out of me. I'm going to work hard on it, but the system, if we use the system I wanted, we'd be winning more games. That is what he's saying. He hasn't used those words, but what else does that mean? What else does that mean? What he should be saying is, we've got a system at Chelsea. We're working hard to make it work. We haven't made it happen yet, but we're going to keep fighting because we want to win trophies for the fans. That's your answer. Not Tuchel made his choice. He didn't say Tuchel. He said he, but he means Tuchel. I don't see how anyone's defending it. It's so unprofessional. It's so unprofessional, in my opinion. It really, really is. You know? Wow. 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 If there had been a new contract offer from Inter last summer, as I wanted, we would not be doing this interview now here in London. But quietly from Milano, he smiles. You can't say this! Who's defending him now? You can't say it. Oh, wow. I've got this challenge and this mission and I want to be here. Boyhood. Da, 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 da. If we offered you more money in it, would you have stayed? Yeah, I love it. I much prefer it there. Mate, that is literally like, oh, I'm getting married today. I love being here. This is amazing. I've never been happier. Love of my life, you need me. It's breaking, like you're singing all these serenading your missus. And then in your speech, in your wedding day speech, you're going, I love her. She's my soulmate. Well, but if my ex hadn't broke up with me, I wouldn't be here. You would never say that on your wedding day. That is what he's done. Absolute. I don't even know why I'm laughing. I can't believe he said that. It's like, I love you. I'll honor you. I'll hold you and cherish you till death us do part. Or until my ex phones me. I'm laughing because people have been defending him all day. He didn't mean it. Shit my boots. Shit. He said that. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, my days. Oh, my days. Got to go. I mean this now. I'm tweeting it. Got to go. You have got to look to actively sell a player that says that. You can't keep him. You can't keep him. Do me a favor, people, and smash that like button. Calls coming in now. I was going to do calls earlier, but I got distracted. I don't know what that's. Shatababa and Lukaku dilemmas have taught me this, taught me that. The modern day football player don't give a damn about the fans. They don't care about us. Well, that's because most of the time our club don't care about us. And it's easy for players to have that out. Players are treated as fans are treated as consumers and not fans. But we hold the power. We still keep giving our money. If you keep paying your money after being treated like this by clubs and players, why would they treat you better? We'll go back to a relationship format. If you go out every Saturday night and cheat on your wife, but she keeps taking you back, making you breakfast on a Sunday morning, you are going to keep cheating. Football fans are doormats. We are all doormats. We defend our clubs blindly. We defend our players blindly. And they're getting worse and worse in the way in which they believe us. We could literally change the way these people behave in the space of a month if we actually. By the way, I'm part of that problem. I'm the guy myself here. Like we all do it. I'm exactly the same. I also think Fabrizio is going for the jugular today. I think he's going for the jugular today because of the way he was. Like people were almost trying to make it sound last night like Fabrizio had created this situation. As opposed to anybody else. Like it's in like it weren't true. But there we go. Right, we're gonna go to calls now. We've got Rack to come on, Shrey to come on, Adam to come on. We're gonna go to Alfie first. So Alfie, who's a Chelsea fan, is on the show with us now. What are you saying, Alf?
Hi mate, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What's your thoughts to this more that's coming out today?
Do you know, first of all, what you were just doing made me laugh immediately about the whole situation with everything. I thought it was funny as hell. It's literally like, if I'm quite honest with you, like since I was saying yesterday, it honestly feels like you've been cheated on. I mean, the way he's, I mean, like you were saying earlier, like you cannot come out and say that, man. You just cannot do it. I completely agree with you. I mean, it's like, I'm all for players being honest, right? I mean, if you're not happy with playing for your club or whatever, that's all fine. But it's the timing that he said it. I think it's completely wrong. Like it's like when he was at Man United, because I think you're a Man United supporter, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. He was like, because he came out and said that he wasn't happy at Man United, but I don't remember him saying it at a certain point during a bad run or anything. It's I think the timing is completely wrong, and that's the reasons why he's got so much backtrash for it, because of the timing. But if you're not happy, fair enough, but you cannot do it the way he has done it because it's completely wrong.
And this is true, and I think this is the thing, right? So one of the reasons that Chelsea are going to be frustrated with him is because he has done it when he's done it without Chelsea knowing. He's organised it. So Chelsea can't control the narrative. If Chelsea were involved and there was a kind of embargo, like Chelsea would control the embargo. Chelsea would be able to hold it back. Chelsea would be able to say, no, they'd do the deal. You release it when we give permission for you to release it. Chelsea wouldn't allow it to go out now because, you know, if Chelsea were top of the league and clear by 5-6 points and they controlled this interview and they left out the Tuchel tactic parts and he kind of said, oh, what, you know, just I love Inter Milan. They did great things for me. But you've got to say you're happy. Like they controlled it a little bit and he just tweaked a few things. Nobody would be as bothered. But Chelsea are falling out of a title race. They're going into their biggest game of the season. There are massive question marks over how Tuchel's attacking system isn't evolving. And that's the bit of the interview that I think is the most potent and most dangerous around. I'm willing to work hard. We discussed how we were going to play. Tuchel made his decision. We'll see how it goes. It's almost like he's hanging Tuchel out to dry, and we know what football fans are like. And Chelsea do have this underbelly of supporters who, in my opinion, have been waiting for Thomas Tuchel to fail. And if he doesn't fall out the title race, I'm telling you now, what Lukaku has said will be the data point they go to, that they push on and they pull on. It's for me, it's as clear as day.
No, I 100% agree with you. But can I tell you this, right? These, like you were saying, these fans who support Chelsea and are waiting for Tuchel to fail, you know, do worse or whatever, because we know what happens. This is the same story over and over again. As soon as the manager starts, you know, going down like this, Abramovich does not care. He will do the sack button straight away. And those fans who want that, honestly, get out of the club. Because for me, Thomas Tuchel has done nothing wrong whatsoever since he's came in. I think he has been one of our best ever managers in our history, for me personally. And it's like, with regarding Chelsea and everything, like I understand that Lukaku's been a key player in the team and everything. Don't get me wrong, like he's one of the reasons to why we're in top 4 with the goals he scored. But our top goal scorer, and this is embarrassing, right? 2 seasons in a row, is Jorginho. And that's through penalties. And that's embarrassing, man. That's so embarrassing. It's like, like to have a guy like him as your top goal scorer, and you've got £100 million striker in your team, and he's only got 5 or 7 goals so far. For me, there's no excuse. Like Cristiano Ronaldo, look at his age, and he's banging, like goal after goal after goal. And, like, it's just, for me, I think this has such a big impact on us for the rest of the season because, what will players like, the rest of the team, like Mount, Rudiger, all the other players be thinking in the dressing room? Or, oh, do you see what Romelu posted on, social media and all that? That'll have such a big impact on the team. And I feel so sorry for Tuchel as well because, he's, with the situation we're in at the minute, we've got all these injuries and it's affected us badly because of the run that we've been on. But it's not going to help at all because Rudiger, Christensen has been a quitter on the verge of leaving.
And that's also that's all that's going on. And then you get like I think Cancelo announced today, Reece James out for 6 weeks. You've got Chilwell out for the season. You've got 3 senior centre. Like even I read another report yesterday that Thiago Silva's got 2 or 3 other big clubs also offering him deals and contracts. Now he's highly likely to stay. But listen, I keep saying to people. I know Fabrizio tweeted saying like he's highly likely to sign his new deal, but remember, I'm not having a go at Fabrizio. Fabrizio was the guy that said 100% Lukaku wasn't going to leave Inter, and he's here at Chelsea now. Things change very quickly, and I think Chelsea fans are feeling that pressure.
Absolutely.
So Lukaku, being a 28-year-old grown man, this is not an 18-year-old kid who messed up.
Absolutely,
it's almost a case of keep your powder dry. Don't be doing these interviews. Get your head down and work hard, and get things done right. I just feel that it's embarrassing from him to do it, my friend. Alfie, really appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. We'll speak again soon. Top man. Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers. Viewers, make sure you smash that like and share button. 4 p.m. today, the Bet Victor Top 6 show is back. We're previewing Arsenal, City, and Chelsea, Liverpool as the main talking points on that show. We'll probably discuss this matter as well. Next on the show, I want to get Rack on because Rack, I don't know. I'm interested to speak to Rack because Rack was kind of defending Lukaku a little bit yesterday around taking things out of context. More's been revealed today, and Rack speaks Italian and understands it. I don't really speak English. So I want to get Rack's opinion on this. What you saying, bro?
Hey, so yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Has your stance changed from yesterday at all?
So I haven't actually. The full interview is being broadcast right now on Sky Sports 24 Ore, which is basically Sky Sports Italy. I haven't seen it. And I haven't read. Apart from the bits that you've mentioned, I haven't read any of Fabrizio's direct quotes. So I just kind of felt like, look, it's best for me to kind of watch it first, and then I'll share my opinions or whatever. But in terms of, I got my VPN out and connected to the Sky Sports website yesterday and watched what Lukaku said in the 3 minutes or whatever, the excerpt from the interview. And I very much was defending Lukaku in terms of what was the way that some of the quotes were portrayed, because there's a few things. First of all, when he says about returning to Inter, he's not talking about returning to Inter as peak of his powers. He says he doesn't want to go there at the end of his career. He wants to go there when he's still playing at a good level. The actual words he used was a buono livello, so a good, that which directly translates still playing at a good level, not necessarily the peak of his powers. Okay. So that's something that I think maybe affects the perception a little bit. Secondly, the whole premise, or the whole way the interview was structured, it seemed like he was talking mostly to Inter fans, and that also kind of makes sense, because he said at some point when he left, he would comment on the whole situation. He said now's the time to comment. He basically said that people in Italy made him feel very welcome. He thanked them very much for making him feel welcome, his family feeling welcome. I think his son or his daughter feeling welcome as well. And he thanked them for that. And I just genuinely think that there wasn't really malice. Now, look, obviously it's a global world nowadays. Anything you say will be pulled apart. And Italy is not that far from England. These things are going to spread. But I generally don't think what he said was too bad from what I read yesterday, or what I listened to yesterday.
And I get that.
What came out today may change that.
And I think it's interesting, because a lot of people, Chelsea fans, messaged me yesterday saying that. And again, I've got no qualm with any of it. I was taking what he said as fairly close to the bone and real, because Fabrizio had translated it, and Fabrizio's Italian, so I didn't. So again, if it was with respect, if it was some English YouTuber who don't speak Italian that used Google Translate, yeah, I would have been a lot more. Let's wait and see till we see it.
It's also one of those things, because someone will say it. Fabrizio may have said it, and it may have been a little bit harsh. Then someone else may translate it or speak to his mate about it and said, "Oh, yeah," and make it sound even worse. Like whispers kind of thing.
I'm not a linguistic expert, but then it will, someone will be like, "Yeah, but actually, the dialect of Italian that he was using, that word means something slightly different in that dialect to this one." And we have that with our languages here. Like, there's certain things, there's a certain word that's a nasty. See you next Tuesday. It can. I'm not saying he said that word. I always like use this example, right? You know as well as I do, because you're from the South. That word can mean 20 different things. Like, I call some people that word, and it's in terms of
laugh,
I call somebody else that word, and I'm being violent with it. And that's the point. Like, I don't speak Italian at all, so that's what I always find interesting with this. Like, oh yeah, but that actually the accent he was using when he said that word, it actually means this rather than that, and that's where it's sometimes hard. Yeah.
Well, it's also because Lukaku obviously isn't actually a native speaking Italian. His Italian is very good. But like he also used the word when he talked about the manager. He called Mister. Mister is basically a coach. He said the Mister ha scelto di giocare in un altro modulo. Modulo means kind of like form, or basically it means a different system. But I took that to mean a different system to what they played at Inter, rather than Tuchel has changed the way that Chelsea play, like from last season to this season, or changed the way they've played.
Well, my view is Chelsea play the same way. So again, this is one of those things where, again, so I get annoyed at the interview. It's like, why didn't you pull on that thread? Is it like, I would be like, what do you mean? Are you meant to be playing in a different way? I would want to ask more questions. So it's one of those things where, look, I'm always open to like it turning out that he never said these things. They mean something different. I go, oh, okay, cool. I think what Chelsea fans are annoyed about, though, it is easy. So I get your point that he hasn't said, I want to go back in the peak of my powers. But he's just signed 5 months ago.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird.
5-year deal, which takes him up to him being 33, 34. Chelsea fans don't want to, like, no disrespect. He might be good enough at 34 to go and play for Inter Milan still, but no one really quite knows. It's almost, you've signed your last big deal. What Chelsea fans want to hear is, I'm dedicated to making Chelsea the best team in England and the best team in Europe. You don't want to hear, I want to go back somewhere else when I'm still very good, because that's so open-ended. What does that mean? You've thrown in the thing about it's complicated. Tuchel's picked his way of doing things. You've also thrown in, I thought when I left, this is what's weird. This is why he speaks in riddles, though. I wanted to end my career at Inter with a new deal. But I also thought if I left Inter, I'd go to basically a proper big club like Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Bayern. But I ended up back at Chelsea. As a Chelsea fan, that's going to make you, again,
scathing, yeah.
You're standing up on your wedding day, giving your speech. You're saying how much you love this woman. But if Sandra or Claire or
shout out to my ex
or Shanice would have asked me to go out on a date, I'd much prefer to be with you. But I'm happy to settle for you. That's how it sounds. And do you get where I'm coming from? I do get the anger from Chelsea fans. And it's that one quote from me that I have quoted saying got to go. And I'm going based on something that a big Chelsea content creator said earlier on today. Where we just sort of turned around and said, I'm just trying to find what he said here. He said, he just put a thing up and said, one's going to go in 12 months. A picture of Lukaku and Tuchel, said, who's it going to be? And like, I kind of agree with that. I know that you'll get Chelsea's official stance will be he isn't going anywhere. But when he says, this is the quote, and again, I know you're going to listen to it and translate it. If there had been a contract offer last summer, I wouldn't be doing this interview from here in London. I'd be in Milan. I do think that quote there, if he has said it in that way, is just so wrong. You got
to be smart about stuff like that. Like,
it's a bit like, say you guys sign Haaland in the summer. Say Liverpool pull it off. Haaland comes in. You're all buzzing. And then he sits down and does an interview and he's like, oh, by the way, if Dortmund offered me the same money as Liverpool, I wouldn't have come here. You don't say it, man. You just go.
Or if he turned, like, even if we signed Haaland, I don't think we will, but if we signed him, I'd say, look, he's probably going to stay at Liverpool for 2-3 years, and then he's probably going to go to Barcelona or Real Madrid or something, because that's not what this destination for a lot of clubs. But if he came out a week after signing, say, yeah, I'll be here for another 3 years, and then I'll be off to Real Madrid, that would be like the worst thing you could possibly say after just arriving.
Exactly. You know, it's a madness for me. It really is. And it's crazy. Like, he's absolutely madman. Guy in here says it doesn't what he meant. I think it doesn't matter what he meant or how he said it. The fact is, his words were from his mouth, and that is the problem. There is no going around it. And I kind of get what you're saying there. And look, Tuchel's bullshit sandwich today, and I call it a bullshit sandwich because your bosses used to do this at work. They give you what they really mean. They fill the middle full of bullshit, and then at the end, they give you what they really mean. And he's protected Lukaku a little bit. But what he's essentially, again, what I'm reading in Tuchel's mind is, why has he gone and said this? Like, the thing is,
you can't do Chelsea any good.
Most footballers probably feel like Lukaku in one way, shape, or form. This is a profession for them. It's almost a case of, you probably got players that, does Ronaldo wish that he stayed at Real Madrid? Maybe he does. Maybe he's like, you know what? I went to Juve. I won stuff, but I didn't really hit what I wanted. I've gone to United. It ain't going well. Do I wish I was still at Real Madrid? Maybe he does in his heart of hearts, but you don't say it. I feel like you keep your powder dry, you stay professional. Rack, thanks for coming on and giving us that insight, especially on the Italian. Take care, mate. And I'll speak to you soon. Thank you, brother. All the best. Next on the show, I want to go to, who am I going to speak to next? Let's chat to Abdul. Abdul's on the show now. What are you saying, bro?
Hey, Terry, can you hear me?
Yes, my bro. Remind everyone who you support.
I support Barcelona, actually. But...
You're a Barca fan. So what? You got no dog in this fight then?
No. I just wanted to bring your attention to, I think you missed what he said about Lautaro Martinez. Fabrizio tweeted it just like 10 minutes ago. What he said is ridiculous, Terry.
This quote here about he doesn't want him to join him at Chelsea, but he'll see him back at Milan soon.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, Terry. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't be saying that. Like, how can you, like, you just joined the club, and it doesn't matter in what circumstance. You can't be saying, I don't want this amazing teammate who's at the peak of his powers to join me because I'm going to be back there. That's ridiculous, Terry.
Mate, no, I agree. Those are the little bits. Those are the little peccadillos that I would be looking at as a Chelsea fan and thinking, what? If you want to play like you're meant to be dedicated to us for the next 5 years is a long time. You are meant to be here for 5 years minimum. And you've been here a few months and you're talking about Lautaro never leave Inter because I'm coming back. Like 5 years time. No, honestly, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It really
I just wanted to ask you, what do you think is going to happen now at Chelsea? Do you think they're going to keep it professional, or is it?
I don't know.
Because from what I'm seeing, a lot of Chelsea fans, they've really turned against him, like really.
And they have, and I think they're right. And it's nice to see the Chelsea fans turn. The problem's going to be with results. If Chelsea start winning again, this will all go away to a degree.
Yeah.
If Chelsea keep losing, this could become poisonous. And it really could. And that's why it's so badly timed, so poorly thought out. Especially the bit he said about the tactics. Tuchel's made his decision. We know football fans are fickle. I'm one of them, so I know we are. If the system doesn't, it could become very, very poisonous indeed. How about you? Do you think this is going to help Chelsea's season, make it worse, or do you think it will have no impact at all? Like, what's your take?
It's tough, Terry, because I honestly think they're already out of the title race domestically, and especially if they don't get a result against Liverpool, then it's finished. You know. It's tough to say, like, really to predict what's going to happen in the Champions League, because let's be honest, that's the trophy like Chelsea fans really only care about. Like, I know they say the Carabao Cup, this and that, but actually, like, in regards to the relationships, I don't know what Thomas Tuchel had seen, because his comments from earlier today, were they based on the first part of the interview, or was it based on the full interview? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't really know yet.
Because these new quotes are horrible. They are horrific.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. So he may not have even seen them yet. So it'll be interesting indeed. I think this super chat here makes a lot of sense. If Lukaku scores the winner versus Liverpool, no one will care about this interview. That is also true. Because we are fickle fans. So I agree with that. That super chat is bang on. Abs, top man for coming on and having your say. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you, brother. Lamin, one of our members, is on the show with us now to have his say. What you saying, brother?
Terry. You know, when this first came out last night, and I went off on one, I went to bed kind of thinking, maybe I should just wait for the full interview to come out and just not overreact. Give the guy the benefit of the doubt, And I can't lie, the more tweets I see from Fabrizio, the more pissed off I get, the more angry I get. I'm like, wow, oh my God, how stupid can this guy be? And I'm at a point now where I've had it with the guy. I'm just like, let's just cut our losses and just sell him as soon as possible. I don't even want him to play on Sunday. I don't care. I don't want to see Lukaku in Chelsea shirt. What he has done here, he's actually spat in the faces of all of the Chelsea fans, everyone that stood by him. This is the biggest disrespect here I have seen anyone ever treat in my club here. And he's the first Chelsea player that I can't actually get behind anymore. And that is hard for me because I love Chelsea. I actually can't get behind Lukaku. And that last comment, you said that if he scores against Liverpool, everyone would forget. I'm not sure I will forget. Like, if he scores the winner against Liverpool, cool. He scored, but I will still be Lukaku out today, tomorrow, till next year, until he goes here. He has to go. I don't want someone in my club who doesn't want to be here, and someone who blatantly just came out and disrespected the club, the fans, the manager, and made it clear that obviously his heart is somewhere else. If he wants to be at Inter Milan, go be at Inter Milan. We don't want you here. Like I said yesterday, we've had bigger players than Lukaku. We actually don't need him. We won the Champions League without him. So we can actually win trophies without this guy. You know, he needs us more than we need him at this point. He's won one league title in Serie A, and if he wants to be, we always say the Premier League is the best league in the world, and you want to take your career to the next level and elevate to that next level, you have to do it in the Premier League. And he's contradicted himself so many times. Everything that he said, I've had it with him. Like, he wants to go to the Serie A, somewhere where it's going to be easy on him, where maybe defenders are not too tough, and he can just bully people around and have his way. Go, be there. Like I said, he's got a weak mentality. As soon as anything gets tough on him, he runs away, and that's what he's does. That's exactly what he does. And I've just had enough. I've had enough. I don't want to see him start. I don't want to see him play for Chelsea. And for the Liverpool game, play Kai Havertz as a number 9 and just get rid of the guy. Just get rid. It's getting embarrassing. The amount of banter I'm just holding from like rival fans, like everyone just coming, and it's really unfair. Like, because our season now could be done because of the injuries. I've already conceded that we're not winning we're not winning the league, and now we're at a position now where we actually need everyone to come together and just rescue this top 4. But all of this drama that's going on, it could actually put that at risk. And Lukaku he's so dumb. He's so dumb, and I don't want him at my club. I actually don't. I'm more pissed off now than I was last night. And like I said, and he's such a coward as well. This is such a cowardly thing to do as well. If you have a problem, if he knew there was a problem with Tuchel, why didn't he do this behind closed doors? Why did he not speak to Tuchel first before this coming out as a surprise to everyone? It sounds like from Tuchel's interview that this is the first time he's hearing about it, or he didn't know that there was a problem at Chelsea. I'm like, why didn't you talk to people at the club first? Let them know, and before coming out, like doing a whole interview, basically creating this whole narrative or love story with Inter Milan and apologizing to the fans and whatnot, which is, I don't even care about that part. But it's this fact that he had this whole video of how he wanted to play for Chelsea. He loved the club. Now he's going back on his word. And, criticizing the manager, the same tactics that won us the Champions League. These are the same tactics. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed since he got here. This is how Tuchel plays. So I don't exactly know what he's talking about. And he's had his chances. And as soon as he went on a little barren run, and now he's just throwing his stories at the pram. This guy's got a weak mentality, man. Like, I can't defend him anymore. I was at a point where I thought we needed a striker. Just get him in, but I now actually regret the fact that we went in for him. I would rather we just kept on Armando Broja or someone.
I hear where you're coming from, bro. It's an interesting comment here from Kevin Palmer, who's a journalist. It says, after being cast as one of the bad eggs at Manchester United, this latest episode doesn't help Lukaku's reputation, and I think that's part of the issue as well. Look, some things people may have misinterpreted. I'm still seeing quite a fair few Chelsea fans kind of defend him. A lot of context is key. A lot of maybe he didn't mean this, he meant that. This bit's okay. I think it's when you look at the overall interview, though. When I read it, he's done nothing sinister. He's done nothing nasty. I just think it's very unprofessional. I know he did the interview 3 weeks ago, but he did it unsanctioned by Chelsea, so they had no control over when it went out. Sky have been very clever. They have released it now. It's almost, and some of Chelsea and Liverpool's results in the last week or so have made this an even better time to release it. And this is the problem. Like, because of the way he's done this, he set himself up. He set himself up for this. Chelsea are now in the mud. Chelsea are getting a lot of stick. We all know the whole build-up on Sunday now. Is Lukaku starting? How will he perform? If he has a bad game, Tuchel's going to get slammed. Why did you pick him after the fallout? If he performs badly, it's because he's not dedicated. If he produces a result, you'll then get to... It could go away, but the pressure then on that result and that performance is massive. You could avoid all of this by just keeping your mouth shut. And I think that's why I'm a big fan in not airing dirty linen in public, keeping things professional. And I don't listen to a lot of player interviews and stuff anymore because it's all PR based, but at the same time, we don't really want the truth. This is the thing with football fans. We all say something like, I want the truth, I want the truth. We actually can't handle the truth. Man United fans are struggling today to handle the fact that Ralph Rangnick absolutely loves the energy and passion that McTominay gives on the pitch, is why he keeps picking him. They're like, how dare you say that? Ollie used to say that. It's like, you don't like the truth because the truth isn't what you actually want to hear, which is why I think... Go on, mate.
Okay. No, I hear that, yeah. But there's a difference between telling the truth and also having a degree of being professional. Like, he's getting paid a lot of money. All of us have careers at some point. Yeah, we've all expected to be professional. If I can't just go on a public platform there and just slander my boss there and then expect to come back in and still have a job or have no consequences for it. I mean, yeah, you can. Like, I understand that. As footballers, yeah, like fans definitely want to have a bit of transparency with them as well, yeah. But the fact that he came out there and basically criticized his boss to the whole media, and then he can't just walk back in and expect there to be any consequences. And for me, if he starts on Sunday, there's going to be a big problem, because if he drops his stinker or he doesn't perform, then like you said, it's going to be like fingers pointed at Tuchel. And I think this is just like Arteta done with Aubameyang. Tuchel needs to take him out of the team. He needs to take him out of the team and stick by his guns. Because even if we lose the game and Lukaku doesn't play, that is not a problem. But the fact of the matter is, if you keep a player that's clearly unhappy, the influence that he's going to have on the dressing room is what I'm more worried about. Yeah. Now, our whole season could just fall away.
I completely hear you on that, my bro. I really, really do. Great call, Lamin. Thank you very much for coming on and having your say. Top man. Thank you, brother. All the best. Do you, as Chelsea fans, want to see him dropped? You want to see him out of the squad? We're going to throw a few callers in together now to have their say. We've got Winter Surfer, we've got Chesney, we've got Flawless Chelsea. Niger coming on the show as well. We're going to take some more calls into this as well. We're going to throw Mohammed in, who's one of our members. Want to get a few people on to have their say. Make sure you smash that like button, people. You subscribe to the Football Terrace. Remember, 4 p.m. today, the Bet Victor Top 6 show is here, where we're previewing the gargantuan ties this weekend. Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool. They're going to be huge. We're going to be live in the studio on Sunday with our first ever exclusive Twitch watch along. So make sure you sign up to our Twitch account. The link for that is in the description below. Let's bring out some of these boys. How you all doing, gentlemen?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, fine, man.
I haven't got the time to do one at a time. So I thought I'd bring you all out together. I want to speak to Winter Surfer first. I know you very much yesterday defended Lukaku, and absolutely right to do that. Have any of the new comments and quotes changed your mind at all? Or do you still think it's a mountain is being made out of a molehill, essentially?
I still think overall it's a mountain out of a molehill. The only thing I don't like is that he didn't consult anyone. It's the only thing I don't like. He didn't even have his own advisors. It's the only thing I don't like. The comments about, Real Madrid, Barcelona, those comments he was talking about, he said at Inter Milan, that's fine. I don't see any disrespect to Chelsea or Chelsea fans whatsoever with that. Him saying then about, if I sell a contract, I'd still be at Inter Milan. I don't even have a problem with that, because he said in his first, one of the quotes was that he went to the board first of all, before he knew of any Chelsea's interest, right? So he went to the board, tried to sort out his future. They said no. And later there's another quote saying as soon as Chelsea were interested, or paraphrasing it, he wanted to come to Chelsea. So I don't have any issue. The overall thing I have, like I said, is that he didn't consult anyone. That's the bit I can't, because you would have thought as many interviews as they give, you should still have the back of your mind that some things could be twisted, no matter if you know the person who's interviewing you, stuff like that. I would have just thought he didn't even have his own. Even have his own advisors there, which is a mistake in my opinion. But he definitely should have let Chelsea know it was happening. That's the bit.
I agree with that. Interestingly, here, Nazar Cancella has said that Lukaku is still expected to lead the line against Liverpool on Sunday. There is a few people saying there's doubt over that game because Liverpool have just confirmed they've got 3 new cases of COVID. Remember, they have to have less than 13 outfield players available and 1 goalkeeper. If you don't reach that threshold, the games go ahead. And right now, Liverpool and Chelsea both have more than 13 outfield players available. So the game isn't in doubt because there's no talk of there being that many players out from either side. So it's still going ahead. Ches, we haven't actually spoke to you about this at all yet. I mean, what's your take on what he said? And do you think he should start against Liverpool this Sunday?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that it is being blown out of proportion a little bit because of the fact that Chelsea's been in such a bad run of form. He hasn't performed to the heights we expected him to. I know he's chipped in a few goals, but he hasn't really hit the ground running, which all the fans expect him to for being 100 million, right? So, and then obviously it comes at a perfect timing where Chelsea drop points at Brighton, 90th minute equaliser. The team is demoralised, so they released the interview. So I don't think that the fans should deep it as much as like Andrew was saying, because he was just explaining to the Inter fans why he left, which he said he would do anyway, which is fair enough. I know the time wasn't great. I don't think he should have done the interview like during that period, but I understand why he did it. So in relation to Liverpool game, I would start him because obviously Havertz is not fully fit. Timo Werner's out, so we have to kind of start him. And our team is bare bones anyway, so we haven't really got a choice. But I just don't think the Chelsea fans deep it as much. It's like if you leave a workplace and you go to a new job and you owe them an apology, it can sound bad at the time, but you have to respect like all different like avenues. So I understand why he did it. So I don't think Chelsea fans should be too upset. But the wording of it can be skewed and twisted. So that's why I should look at it objectively, in my opinion. But yeah, he started with Liverpool.
I hear you on that. From your point of view, Mohamed is a Liverpool fan. Like, what is your take on this when you hear this? Do you feel like Chelsea fans are right to be angry? Do you think they're blowing it out of proportion? Like, where are you at with this, bro?
Well, yeah, I probably have to agree with Chelsea fans that like this is very disrespectful to all the people involved with Chelsea Football Club. Yeah, because what he's done here is probably jeopardized the whole season for you Chelsea fans, and then that game going on Sunday, that could just work into Liverpool's hands. So I think it will be very interesting couple of days because I've just read now as well Liverpool have COVID cases. So I don't know if that brings it back into the balance or we'll have to wait and see on that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And how about yourself, Flawless? Obviously, I know yesterday you were very, very angry with what has been said. Has your mind changed at all? Maybe Lukaku's been misquoted a lot, taken out of context. Like, how are you feeling about it today, brother?
I'm still really upset with Lukaku because if you look at what he said here, let me just read shortly. He said, physically I'm fine, which is okay, but I'm not happy with the situation at Chelsea. So now when you are telling the reporter, you're fine, but I'm not happy with the situation, then the reporter will start not asking you, what is the situation? You understand what I mean? What is the situation? What's going on? You're not supposed to open your mouth and start saying, I'm not happy with the situation at Chelsea. I will be professional. I'm not happy with the situation, but I'm professional. But you being professional is not you being opening your mouth and saying that you're not happy with the situation at Chelsea. That's not being professional. A professional striker is supposed to shut his mouth and just say, listen, yeah, I had a good time at Inter. I love the fans, and I've won a cup and championship for them. I'm happy. So now I have a new a new future ahead of me. I'm in Chelsea, so my focus now is in Chelsea. Finish, shut it up. Stop talking about a romantic affair that you have with Inter. What's going on here? So are you trying to tell me that you have a lot of feelings for Inter, or I love the fans? It's like you have a romantic affair in Italy. Now you're in Chelsea, you have to play for Chelsea Football Club. And it's very disrespectful to your manager. You just came, it's not even 6 months, and then you're opening your mouth like that. A manager that just won the Champions League. Lukaku, have you ever won the Champions League? No. Then you listen to the manager, exercise patience, wait in the summer, and allow the board to back the manager. And then next season or next summer, then you can start opening your mouth and saying, I'm not happy with the situation, the formation the manager is playing. Just relax. Being professional doesn't mean you have to open your mouth. Don't open your mouth. Just shut your mouth. Romantic affair you have. Did you have a romantic affair in Italy? Leave those behind. I love Inter fans. I really miss them. Italy is a nice place. Is that what you want to be saying? And you know that when you start opening your mouth and start having conversations like this with some of the reporters in Sky, they will start want to find what's going on. They want to ask you more questions so that they can be on the headlines. For me personally, I'm still very, very angry.
I hear you. Prime's with us as well now. What's your take on this, Prime? You're always very level-headed about these kind of things. What do you make? Right, wrong? Are you indifferent about it? What's your view?
I think Chelsea fans that are overreacting to all of this are using this as an excuse because they never really wanted Lukaku in the first place. They wanted Haaland, and they're just using this to scapegoat him. Genuinely, listen. We know what the media do anyway. They like to twist and take things out of context. I've looked at the quotes. I watched the interview. It's in Italian. I don't speak Italian, so it's a bit confusing. But I also saw. I know people that do speak Italian, and they translated it for me as well. What he said, I have no problem with whatsoever.
So what did he say? What did he say?
What, talking about how amazing it was in Inter fans. We know when he left anyway and stuff. There's a bit of breakdown with Inter fans, and like they kind of turned against him a little bit, and he doesn't like that. He's trying to make amends, and plus he was speaking with an Italian, Sky Italia, wasn't it? So in the Italian reporters, they must have asked him a question about it, and he just gave an answer. There's nothing wrong with what he said. Him speaking about what's going on at the club in terms of the system and stuff. I don't think that's a detriment to Tuchel. It's on the board and the players, because we know when Lukaku plays, these players do not create chances for him to score. The Brighton game we just played, after Lukaku scored, we didn't get a shot off the entire game.
Then say that to the manager. Then say that to the manager and the boss.
And what makes you think he hasn't said that? We as fans, hold on. As fans, we talk about how players or managers or whatever, that they're too PC or PR, that they don't come out and speak their mind. When players or managers do come out and speak their mind, we also complain. What is it that you want? At least he's being honest. I'm 100%. I don't mind what he said. It's fine.
So
Prime, little snippets and quotes may sound bad.
So I can understand, Prime. So you're him sort of saying that he thought he would go to a bigger club, saying that he still wants to. He just signed a 5-year deal with your club, and him now saying that he wants to return to. He wants to return to Inter, maybe not in his peak of his powers, but still when he's got like a lot of time left in his legs. There's what he said about he doesn't want Lautaro Martinez to join him at Chelsea. Wait for me to return to Inter. Him talking about he's working hard to make it work, but Tuchel's made his mind about the system, and I'm going to work hard to make it work. Like, you don't feel like any of this is ill-timed, disrespectful, hurtful. You don't feel hurt by any of it. You're suggesting.
Well, you say you say ill-timed, like. This interview was done about 3-4 weeks ago when he was still injured, when we were playing well, when we were top of the league and everything was fine. The media released this now when things have fallen apart.
Why have they released it? But why have they released it now? Because he did this interview unsanctioned by your football club. So the point I'm making is this what I'm not saying that everything he said is wrong. There's some things I think he said in there that I think are fine. It's more the fact that he's done an interview which is now being used to put a lot of pressure upon Chelsea. He has still done that. He may not have done it with any intention to upset anybody. There is still an element here. Your own manager, bruv, has come out and said that we don't like this. This is badly timed. This is not what we need. It creates noise. So your own manager has said this is wrong.
It is badly timed for it to come out now. But in terms of what was actually said, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. It coming out now isn't great, fine, but I don't have a problem with what's being said. It's not like it's not true what he said.
This might jeopardize your season, though, maybe.
Prime.
Wait, hold on.
Let me ask you a question.
Hold on. The guy in the middle, to me, I don't know what your name is.
Mohammed.
Mohammed? Why would this now jeopardize our season?
Because the way things are going, it's gonna cause the issue in the dressing room. Like they're gonna rise. Yeah, but it's gonna worsen the situation, though. It's gonna make it worse.
It's already been an issue because you've seen our performances the past few weeks. What he's saying isn't wrong because we all can see we're not playing well up front. It's been going on for a long time now, before he even came, matter of fact. So now he's coming.
But the thing is, you go to the media and start saying the situation at Chelsea it's not okay. Listen, when you start saying things like this, you are a £100 million player, and everybody look at you as a leader. You are not supposed to come out in the press and start saying things like this.
The crazy thing is, the most damning thing that he said forget the twerking for in. I wouldn't have been here if this happened. All of that is just fan stuff. The most dangerous thing he said is and I'm paraphrasing here as I've read it as opposed to word for word because it's not in front of me. But the whole, me and Thomas Tuchel have discussed how we're going to attack.
Yeah, how we are going to attack.
Tuchel has made his decision. I'm going to essentially try and adapt to it. He is literally saying that it's not my fault. And again, you fans have said it. We're not creating enough for him, right? As an example. But that isn't for players to come out and say publicly, because what he has now done, he's loaded a gun for if you guys don't get better. I've seen this before at Chelsea and other clubs. A kind of trap gets laid or something gets said. It's an early planted seed. I almost guarantee if you guys continue to regress, and I'm not suggesting you will, this will become a data point. See, Lukaku was right. It was Tuchel's decision to play this system that has cost us, not the players, nobody else. And you know as well as I do, Prime, you've got a number of fans that are clucking to have a go at Thomas Tuchel. And I just think you keep it in. Oh, 1 minute, mate. You keep it in-house and you don't load the gun for people.
Terry.
But hold on. Wait,
Terry,
can I just say...
this is hang on, Prime. This was supposed to be an interview addressing the Inter fans. The one thing I'm now thinking of, Terry, he shouldn't have said anything about Chelsea whatsoever.
Exactly.
Right? This was supposed to be addressing the Inter fans. Yeah, he should have said, you know what? He could have killed it by going, I'm happy at Chelsea. That's what he needs to say, right? Or not like come out. This was supposed to be against the Inter fans. For the Inter fans. He said he was going to do it. He did do it. If he hadn't said anything about Tuchel or the system, no Chelsea fan would be. I
agree, and that's why, that's been my biggest focus on this, because it's very interesting the way he has worded it. It's kind of like it isn't it is a dig for me. It is. I tell you, an example, it is, Prime. You come and work for me, but you're not doing a very good job. But you come out and say, Terry told me my role was going to be X, Y, and Z, but instead, Terry's decided to do A, B, and C. I'm going to work hard to get it done, but essentially, it wasn't what I was promised it would be my role when I came here. You're essentially passing the buck and saying it's not on me or maybe even the other players. It's all on the manager. And and you know me, I don't think managers should slag off players publicly. And I don't, generally speaking, unless it's continual bad behavior or something along those lines. And I don't think players should air their dirty linen in public either. You keep it in-house. You stop these fires from starting. That's where Lukaku, for me, has been foolish.
I don't think again, yes, it probably shouldn't be sent publicly. But like I still reiterate, what he said is not wrong, for one. And two, this isn't at least from what I'm reading into it, it's not a slagging off of Tuchel.
Yeah, I don't think he said it.
I don't think there's anything against
what he just said.
I haven't said that he slagged off. No one said I haven't said he slagged off Tuchel. I believe what he has done. I believe he's passed the buck. He's passed the buck to say
he's left it open to interpretation. That's what he said.
It's very smart for me. It's smart what he's done. He hasn't, and that's also on the interview. For me, I'd have been like, "What do you mean? Were you promised to play a different way? Were you going to do something different?"
Yeah,
I want more clarity on it. Because it's the biggest question. It could be a bit of a dig, but you got one of the biggest things you Chelsea fans have said on all of my shows is, why is it that you've got so many very good attacking players, but it hasn't clicked yet? Why? Everyone's been asking that question, and he's thrown it out there. I've got some super chats here, boys, because the fact that he did that interview without anyone knowing is disrespectful. Anyone being disrespectful in any way should leave immediately, is what Red Wolf's got to say. Walter King says, Prime, stop this. This is not the right time for him to say that. He could have waited at least until the end of the season. Chelsea don't need this. And I think there's elements of truth in it. Like I said, I can stand by what I said. I tweeted saying he's got to go after that thing about if Inter offered a deal, I wouldn't be here. I even do think that's disrespectful. I know he's addressing fans, but you don't need to disrespect Chelsea fans in your praise of others. It should have just been, I moved on from Inter Milan for these reasons. I'm really happy to be here. I always want to be back at Chelsea as well, but I love both. Like, there is a way of saying it where you can make both sides happy. Stating that I wouldn't be here if Inter gave me that new deal. Again, it's like I've said, you're on your wedding day, you're standing up there. I love this woman. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Well, if my ex hadn't broke up with me, I definitely wouldn't be here, but I'm pretty happy. Don't say it. And that's essentially how a lot of Chelsea fans feel today. So I've got a super chat here. Sorry, one sec. I've got to do this super chat. A lot of people tell me to go to Matt Law's page. I went and looked. Matt Law has called Lukaku an idiot today. And I think that's more of it. I don't think he's been sinister. I think he's been idiotic.
Yes. Yes.
Some Chelsea fans either really deluded or super forgiving. In my opinion, there is no way to come back from this. Swap him for Haaland is what.
Because it's that easy to swap him.
See, but here's the thing, though.
Over
Do you know the type of person Haaland is? He would be complaining and doing even worse in terms of speaking out and throwing play.
Or his agent.
Like, oh yeah, Mina Raiola, because surprise, surprise, the same thing happens at United with Paul Pogba. Raiola,
Prime, that's a good point, you know.
But Dortmund haven't had this issue with Haaland yet anyway.
You want Haaland? You want this problem? Or will you guys back Haaland because he's
that's a
this
good point.
shiny big toy with a feet?
Listen, Prime. You have to listen to what the manager said for you to really know that what Lukaku did is idiotic. This is what he said. He said, listen, he said, let's be honest. I don't like it because it brings noise we don't need. Yeah, so don't you think that what the manager said? What can you tell me? Explain that to me. What do you think about that?
He said, I don't like it because it brings unnecessary noise. Did he say that Lukaku is wrong?
Yes, I mean that again. Prime, what you're doing, just boil this down. What you're doing is what I've seen from a number of. I've seen Chelsea fans, United fans, all do this. You're acting like we're in a court of law. He hasn't said the words. He is wrong. But when you listen to, you don't turn around and say, and I'll read his quote again. You don't say, I'm now I can't find the words that he used. You don't say. Let's be honest. We don't like it. You don't say we don't like it because it brings noise that we don't need. It's not helpful.
Okay.
You don't say those things and think that what Lukaku did was right. You're either right or wrong here to do it. He's wrong to do it. You don't need to say he is wrong to say he is wrong. You're now getting into the semantics of the matter. And it's like someone said yesterday, well, Lukaku didn't actually use Tuchel's name when he was talking about the tactics. But he was talking about Tuchel. You get what I mean? Like we're getting into like we're in a court of law. Did he actually use that word? What did that word mean? Tuchel has said it's not helpful and they don't like it. That means he thinks it's wrong. You don't need him to say it's wrong. Come on, man. Surely you don't need him to say those words for you to understand.
This is football, for God's sake. And you know when you start saying stuff like this, it affects the dressing room. This is football. It's not. We are not acting a movie here. This is football. And you all know that.
What do you suggest happens now then?
For me personally, I think he has to speak with the manager and Lukaku has to come out and apologize. That's what I think he should do.
I mean, they did say they will have a talk about. Tuchel did say that you will have a talk about, and like, maybe you never know, it might get resolved.
He has to come out on Twitter and apologize to the fans.
Wait, apologize to the fans?
Exactly, apologize to the fans and the manager, and that's it.
Okay, no, apologize to the manager, yeah, but that can even be done in private. Why apologize to the fans?
Him apologizing to the fans admits what we're saying is right, which would make it even worse.
Listen, if you apologize to the fans, listen, a lot of Chelsea fans have really liked Lukaku and will back Lukaku. So he really hurt a lot of fans like me, for trusting on Lukaku and coming and saying things like this.
I think.
What are you telling me?
I think he can say sorry. I think he can say sorry without saying sorry. You know, he can start scoring some goals. He can put 100% effort and work in, and he can do an interview in a few weeks where he talks about his love and admiration for the club. And most of you Chelsea fans will get on your knees and suck it right in and be like, oh, I love it. And you be straight on it. You just will, because that's how he says sorry.
Because we're hypocrites.
And that ain't Chelsea fans. Yeah. That's every single... Like, if Aubameyang comes back into the Arsenal team and starts scoring goals, they'll all be on their knees.
Not for me. Not for me.
No,
especially if he scores the win in the League Cup final, if that happens.
You say not for you, but Lukaku will start against Liverpool on Sunday. If he scores in that game and we win, it's all forgiven, essentially.
He's paid to score goals. And what happens when we don't start scoring goals and when the matches that we are having we are losing? What happens then? What then happens?
It's not on him.
Yeah. No, I hear you guys. Go on, say your piece, Chairs. Go on.
Yeah, but I'd say if we stop scoring goals like we've been doing recently and he doesn't score, we could clearly see it's not on him. It's the system. But you can't always blame it on him.
What happened next summer when we are not winning games and then come out again to the press? That's the problem.
What happens if he scores 30 goals this year? It's just
if buts and maybes. I can't lie. We can't really welcome.
Wait.
We'll see.
You can only judge a situation maybe in the summer.
Everybody, thank you. I appreciate you all coming on, everyone tuning in. Get yourselves across to the homepage now on YouTube and set your reminder. Big Bet Victor Top 6 show at 4 p.m. We go live. Get your reminders set. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again